Hey folks, welcome back to Dub Africa. This is Chris coming to you live from central Pennsylvania. Talking to you today a little about news from South Africa, events around the world, see what's going on. Is anybody out there? Anybody watching? Anybody listening? I don't see anybody there, so let's take a look and see. Has the channel died a premature death? Is there nobody interested? Looks like I'm the only one here. Well, awesome. Pretty cool. I'll talk to myself for now. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, I'm going to cover news and events today around South Africa. So wherever you find yourself in the world today, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program. You're listening to Chris Wine Africa on the Adaba Africa channel here on YouTube. And it's a channel where we talk about all things geostrategic of interest to folks in Africa and around the world, particularly the U.S. as well, where we're focused on, oh, there's some folks there. Wow. Gosh, how come nobody showed up in my chat? There are a couple people here. I'm starting to wonder if I was floating around solo. There's Dreon, Matthew Finley saying, Yanni's there, Citizen Guardian. Hey, Citizen Guardian, you didn't send me a photo, so I just made a banner without your photo. I hope you don't mind. Anna Marie Forster is there. Chris Bodenhorst, Jaco Grief. Jaco, I don't think I've seen you there before. Welcome. Helen Duplessis, Tian, who else is there? Doc Breaker, Daniel Prinsloo, Malcolm Stark, Lezan. Welcome, Lezan. Lezan's got to take off there. Don Wabo Maluo. Good to see you again. Corlia, welcome. Proudly Neanderthal. Errol, Malcolm, Rudy, Lars Solis, Penny. Hey, good to see you guys. Welcome, everybody. I plan on going for just about an hour today on this stream because I'll do a Night Owls edition later today. But in between, I have an appearance on Joe Emilio's channel. For those of you who are interested in watching that, you can tune in to watch me on Joe Emilio. And if you're looking for Easter eggs, there are Easter eggs on the screen and Easter eggs in the camera view. So in case anybody's looking for Easter eggs today, just thought I'd point that one out so you guys know. Anyway, there are in fact some Easter eggs here if you want to check them out. So folks, let's see what's going on. If anyone's got anything to say really quickly before we get into the news and such. Anna Marie Forster, whoops, get back there. She says, Cassato wants Ramaphosa to prove that his administration is not a powerless scarecrow with rubber teeth. Cassato is threatening withdrawal support. Well, Cassato is threatening withdrawal support under Zuma's government, and essentially they did withdraw support, and the ANC didn't collapse. The South African Communist Party is also threatened to withdraw support under Zuma, and the ANC didn't collapse. So I don't think that the loss of Cassato's support is something that is that great a concern to the ANC. In 1994, yes. In 2020, not so much. The labor unions don't have nearly the weight they once had. And the government made its position clear when it came to labor when its police fired on toy-toying demonstrators at the Marikana mine. That was a pretty clear statement. And in case anybody's wondering, Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa was on the board of that platinum company that was engaged in that activity. And so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The mines, the unions do not trust the ANC. So Cassato can threaten all they want. It's not going to cause a collapse of the government. It may cause some consternation, some difficulty within inside the government, but rather than abandon Cyril Ramaphosa, if support were to dwindle away, the ANC would close ranks around him if Cassato disappears. That's my take on it. But yeah, I wouldn't lose a lot of sleep over that. I wouldn't get a lot of confidence in it either. Just statement of fact on their part. But anyway, folks, I'll be on Joe Emilio's program today talking about land in South Africa and exposing some myths and some fallacies about land ownership in South Africa. So we're going to talk about that on Joe's program. I've previously had a special feature live stream on here. We had people call in where I talked about land and poverty. This isn't quite the same. It'll be a little bit different. Joe was looking for a journalist who is not South African, who does not have a dog in the fight, does not own land in South Africa, and is an objective reporter. And he asked me. Now, you may or may not describe me in that fashion, but Joe seems to think I'm that way, and I would agree. So I'm happily going on this program to talk about it. Let's see what else. Yako did say good day. Welcome, Yako. Who else we got here? No rugby jersey. Corda, this is a rugby shirt. Not a rugby jersey, though. Here you go. There you go. Rhino Rugby, which is a U.S. company that makes rugby equipment, including balls, and they have their own brand of rugby balls. I'm wearing their shirt today. So it's a rugby theme, but it's not a rugby jersey. So I'll save the rugby jersey for later. I was going to go shower. I had to take my truck, my Toyota 4Runner, over for inspection for the annual is it safe to drive and operate on the motorway. My vehicle's 16, 17 years old this year. Only has 80,000 miles on it, so that's what, 140,000 K. After 17 years, that's pretty good. And that truck has been all over the world. It's been to Germany, traveled all over Europe, driven all over Europe as a consequence being in Germany. It's also been to Botswana. It's been to South Africa. It's been to Swaziland, to Namibia, to Zimbabwe, to where else? Oh, Uganda and Ethiopia. So that truck has been all over the world. And it's been to Canada, It's not been to Mexico, but it has been all over the world. And it's pretty low mileage despite that. Awesome truck, really happy about it. But took it in for servicing. It has to be done once a year, so there you go. Oh, thank you, Yanni, for posting that old link there. Appreciate that. That's that video I mentioned here. Proud Aaron says that's where the Bible teaches us how to be good slave owners. Don't believe everything you read in the Bible. BLM is burning Bibles. Not surprised. Yes, Errol says, I see Germany had mass protests against this draconian agenda. They did, and it wasn't covered by the media when it initially happened. It's been going on for several days. Mass protest. People very angry, not wearing masks and not maintaining social distance all over Germany. Huge deal, folks. Yeah, where is the left media now not reporting that? We know about it because it is getting reported. Mostly it was on social media, and they had no choice but to report it in the press. But it took some time for that to happen. Jonathan Herman, welcome, welcome. Hank Adrianse, Bradley, welcome, Bradley. What else we got here? Daniel Prinsloo, did you, oh wait, Helen Zilla's biography is not on top. Aha, Drian, Drian, you're a little behind, that's correct. Helen Zilla's biography is not there at all. I changed all those books several days ago, but that's not the only Easter egg. Let me move that a little bit out of the way, make you can see a little bit better there. There you go. There's a few changes back there, but anyway, I'll see if you guys can figure them out, the Easter eggs. But good catch, good catch. Daniel says, did you hear that Steve Hofmeyer said about BLM? I think it was brilliant. Well, funny you should mention that, Daniel Prinsloo. Exclusive, live here on Chris White Africa. Tentatively scheduled, and I say tentatively because I'm waiting for his booking agent to call back. Steve Hofmeyer will be a guest on Chris White Africa this Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1800 in South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Hofmeyer, the actor, the stage performer, the top-selling musician, and cultural activist. Steve Hofmeyer will be on my program this Friday, August 7th, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. in South Africa, Botswana, and 5 p.m. in Namibia. So come check it out. It should be interesting. I hope you enjoy it. And it looks like my voice is behind. Look at my camera here and see if that's actually the case. Is my voice behind? No, it's fine there. It must just be the screen lagging. Anyway, yeah, so Steve Hofmeyer will be on the channel, folks. There you go. There you go, Daniel. And we will be talking about that video discrimination. When the video came out in Afrikaans, I watched it and it moved me. I was impressed, but I have to be honest, I didn't understand everything in Afrikaans, and there was no transcript, so I had to just wing it and figure it out as best I could. My complaint was that if he wants to get the world informed, it needs to be in English. Obviously, they were already working in English, but we didn't know that. And I'd heard rumors that it was going to be in English, and now it's come out in English. It was sent to me by a South African friend yesterday, and I watched it, and then I immediately sent another message to his booking agent and said, listen, since I've requested Steve come to the channel, now that I've seen this in English, this is really powerful. I really, really want to get Steve on the channel. Got a confirmation from his booking agent this morning that Steve agreed to do the program. I suggested Friday, and the agent said, that's great. I'll confirm with Steve. So that's why it's tentatively scheduled for Friday. Unlike my previous Afrikaans musician guest who made a promise and never showed up, this guest I'm pretty confident will show up. So Steve Hofmeyer right here on Chris White Africa this Friday, ladies and gentlemen, August the 7th. Check it out. Or as Ronaldo Hotz likes to say, check it out. Come to my channel, watch it this Friday. I'm excited about it. Steve has been around a long time. He's done almost anything you can think of when it comes to entertainment. He was a star on Igoli, City of Gold. I used to watch that program. He was on Sieben Dalan. Watched that program. And, of course, his music over the years, he's got that 1980s rocker, pop idol, aha, Take On Me kind of look back in the day. But he's fully grown and matured, and that deep baritone voice of his. But Steve Hofmeyer will be on the program this week, folks. I hope you like it. Voice is about half a second ahead. Let me stop my camera, folks, and I'll restart it. Let's do that, okay? So please be patient while my camera goes offline for a moment. I'm going to bring it back to try to resync it. So hang on. All right, there I am. I'm back. I hope that's a little bit better, folks. Let me look at my Streamlabs. Yeah, that looks better. A little bit better. Hopefully we got it synced now. So let's see. Some comments coming in about Steve Hofmeyer. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, that's what you guys have got to say about that. Oh, and Yanni's put the link on there already. Thanks. So Ramaphosa might be the next Thabo Mbeki. Anna Marie Forster, I have been predicting this for several months, that it is quite possible we are going to see a Polokwane massacre. And when I say the Polokwane Massacre, of course, I'm referring to the city of Petersburg, now known as Polokwane today, but famously the place where the African National Congress unseated its president, Thabo Mbeki, because of his arrogance and his what's the word I want to say here? Arrogance is just it. His arrogance with his own party, and they had enough of him. And arrogance. Oh, and also the people in the party wanted to steal, and he wasn't allowing people to steal. So because of that, they booted him in Polokwane, and I've been predicting now for several months that it's very possible that we're going to see Cyril Ramaphosa hit the road. Of course, he'll be replaced most likely by either Ace Magashule or Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma. That's right, one of those two. But don't be surprised if we see that happen. That could happen any day, folks. All right, so let's get back to so Hofmeyer. Flip says, yes. Didn't know of this live show. Huh? Well, I just posted it. I just posted a while ago. I got the confirmation earlier. I don't like to put things up beforehand. Folks, I've only had one no-show, and that was Nadine Hofeld. She promised to come on the show, and then she didn't, and I was a little embarrassed by that because I put the marker up for the concert. But I never put up her photo beyond the one that I got off the internet because I always ask for a photo for my guest. My guest for tomorrow has bailed on me because he has a book publishing. He's down to the last week, and so it's fine. He thought I was asking for too much, and I explained to him, no, you don't have to do anything. We can wait till afterwards. So my guest tomorrow was supposed to be Steve Friedman, who's a professor at the University of Johannesburg in political science, and I was hoping to talk to him about the direct elections decision and some other political issues in South Africa. So hopefully he'll be on the program after about 10 days from now, so maybe mid to late August. We'll get him on. But this week, Steve, what was Erica was right about what? About Steve coming on? Yeah, Corleia says Steve is Ronaldo's dad. Well, I don't know about that. I know Ronaldo's always saying that in a joking fashion. Ben Hashem, Steve has a lot of children. I think there's a whole suburb named after him where they live. You guys are terrible. Behave yourself. Behave yourself on Friday. All right? Safe space. You have to be a safe space. Anyway, folks, so tune in this Friday. Please share that with everybody. And if it gets changed, I promise I'll give you an update to the time. But right now, the plan is Friday. Hopefully it'll just be kind of a Leka Friday. Sit back and chill and listen to Steve Hofmeyer with his deep baritone voice. Yes. I'd like to ask him about a few things about, I don't know how you guys pronounce it in Afrikaans, but Treuegrond, the movie that he did about farm murders and farm land issues, land invasions. Also like to talk to him about his song he did a few years back, Pa and Son, and also Die Land. That's a great one. That's a recent song he did with Robbie Wessels. I think it was Robbie Wessels, or maybe it was Tunis, but with Jay, Bobby van Jaarsveld, and Bok van Black. So be talking to him about that. Hopefully that should be fun. David Grunewald says, "Hi Chris, what is the story about Ace Magashule threatening Ramaphosa to his face about a coup d'etat?" That's the rumor, David. That's the story on the street. That's, but we have no tangible evidence of it. That's what people are spreading around. So I would not be surprised. Ace Magashule is sowing his oats. He's feeling it. He's definitely comfortable in his element, and I would not be surprised that he actually did that. It's pretty clear that Ramaphosa is not running the show and hasn't been running the show since the first few months of his administration. If he'd been running the show, Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma would never have been in this cabinet. Never. She would have been consigned to the dustbin of history, just like Hillary Clinton, where she could have carped from the side about how she's been, misogynistic things and why she's marginalized and how she had things stolen from her. But no, he makes her a minister in his cabinet. That's very suspect. Also showed his weakness from the moment he came into office. And I said that, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you out there, I'm not saying any of my audience was, but people were hoodwinked. They believed, Ramaphosa, the brilliant businessman Cyril Ramaphosa is now taking over. We'll have a pragmatic approach. We might even get rid of black economic empowerment. No, ladies and gentlemen. Just another sheep in wolf's clothing, or wolf in sheep's clothing. Yeah, that's it, wolf in sheep's clothing. As I said from the outset, don't get too excited. I said that Ramaphosa has an opportunity if he wants to do something to make a change. He has a narrow window to do this. Go back to 2017 when this was happening. This is exactly what I said. He has a very narrow window to make these things happen. And if he wants to do it, he better move fast. And he didn't. He held conferences. He had indabas about investing and coming into Africa and getting people to come to South Africa. And he said he was going to raise $100 billion in foreign direct investment. Got promises of something like $34 billion, I think it was. And I think only about $3 or $4 billion of that's actually been realized in South Africa, if that much, before COVID-19, after a complete year of this road dog and pony show. Then he went to Davos, where he beg for money. Then he went to New York, where he denied that there were murders in rural South Africa. And he's not really done much of anything in the country. And now the country is being run and led by a cabal. That's right, a cabal of the National Coronavirus Command Council, an undemocratic, unelected, unaccountable, capricious body that's deciding how people live and don't live in South Africa in contravention of its constitution. I don't want to hear that the Constitution and the law allows for this body to be created. That's true. But it doesn't allow for a body to be created to circumvent and override the Constitution. The Parliament doesn't exist, ladies and gentlemen. Probably the best job in South Africa right now is an MP. You don't do anything. You just collect a paycheck because the National Coronavirus Command Council does everything. This is very similar to the security state in the late stages of apartheid. When the National Party ran the country, for the last 15 years or so of its existence, it was run by a security state. The intelligence services, the police, the military, the senior leaders, and the president's office ran that country. The parliament was a rubber stamp, and the parliament today is nothing but a rubber stamp for what these clowns come up with in the National Coronavirus Command Council. So there you go, folks. Well, that's the reality, the absolute reality of what's happening. And you should be concerned. If you're not South African, you should be concerned. If you're South African, you should be terrified. You should be absolutely terrified about what's going on here. There's complete abandonment of the rule of law. And now people take issue with me saying, no, they're following the law. Well, of course they're following the law. But the law doesn't allow them to do the things they're doing. Just because they're following a body that's permitted to be created doesn't mean they're making decisions that are in concert or in harmony or in the spirit of law. It's absolutely crazy. We see all kinds of things taking place. So what about, well, I won't go into Eben Etzbeth right now, but I'll get back to it a little bit later. Well, let me look at some of the comments here so I don't fall too far behind in the comments we've got up here. Daniel says, I got sheep. They are white and certainly don't look like Ramaphosa. Sorry, I did not mean to insult your sheep, Daniel Prinsloo. Well, you should get some of those caracal sheep that they used to use in Namibia. It used to be a huge market until the animal activists got involved, and they didn't like the fact that the caracal sheep were sheared for their pelts or killed for their pelts, and that market kind of dried up. Shame. It was a massive market, and they did an amazing job with it. Of course, those sheep come from Central Asia, were imported by the Germans at the end of the 19th century, beginning of the 20th century, and a vast market of caracal pelts grew up out of that. I remember leafing through old periodicals back when I was a university student from Deutsche Südwestafrika and then Southwest Africa under South Africa, and reading about the entire caracal industry. Fascinating stuff. Ben Hashem says, Ramaphosa helped write documents like ANC Circular that said whites must be treated like boiling frogs, and also had a huge input in BE. Yeah, no, I don't doubt that. That's why I warn people that Ramaphosa is misplaced hope. Misplaced hope. Absolutely. The only answer here is the ANC losing elections and stepping away from government. Southern Metalhead, welcome. I don't think I've seen you before. Why is everyone worried about ACE? We have plenty of them in cabinet already. Absolutely. I'm not worried about ACE. Someone asked the question, Southern Metalhead, and I was simply answering it to the best of my ability. Yeah, there's lots of folks like that. Probably Neanderthal says, I have no opinion, I have a question. I see Black Lives Matter is burning Bibles. Will the moderates remove Exodus? No, people aren't. Probably Neanderthal, you keep asking that question. People aren't going to remove things from the Bible. It's a historical document. Why would you remove it? You objections to it? See, that's the problem. I'm not familiar with those sections of the Bible, Exodus 21 and Leviticus 25. I'm not familiar with them, proudly Neanderthal. What I will say is this, is that when you remove things and you hide things, you burn things, you destroy things, then how can we look back and see what was wrong? It's like this nonsense of tearing down statues, or removing statues. Remove the statue of the guy who donated the land, which was put in there for perpetuity for Stellenbosch University. And the fact that he was an Afrikaans or Cape Dutch speaker, they've removed his statue because he's a white guy. Well, there would be no Stellenbosch University were it not for the generosity of that man. Of course, the counterargument is you stole. Well, okay, whatever. Just we can say that about anybody. But the point is that whitewashing history. I mean, in the United States, we have idiotic school boards in this country that ban Huckleberry Finn because his friend Jim was get this, hang on for it, be ready for it, ladies and gentlemen. His friend Jim was a Negro. No, you didn't say that word, did you? Of course I said that word. I didn't call somebody that. I mentioned it. It's historical. It's what people said at the time. Whether it was appropriate, whether it was reprehensible, whatever it was, it doesn't really matter. It was the term of the time. And using it in the context in that book, it's important for kids to read that book and they learn about the relations between people. His friend Jim, just because he was a Negro, didn't mean bad things about him, and it didn't reflect anybody's character. I find it hilarious to see that people take exception to the use of words Like if you were to say here in America, now in South Africa, if you say colored, people are proud of being colored. It's a specific identity. That's true. But here in America, if you call someone who's black, hey, you're colored, whoa, them's fighting words. Yet the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the NAACP, still exists. Why? Because that was the term in the vernacular and use at the time. And that's why they used it. They didn't say it was the National Association for the Advancement of African American People or the National Association for the Advancement of Black People. No, they say colored people because that was the term of the era. And they have not changed their name. They're true to their heritage. There's nothing wrong with that. The ANC changed its name. Yeah, that's right. It changed its name earlier in its history, but that's its prerogative. So destroying things and removing things from the Bible doesn't serve any purpose. How are we going to learn about the things in the Bible that we find unpalatable in our 21st century morality if we don't read what people did in the past? It's just silly. I disagree with it. I think Proud Neanderthal, you're coming from the perspective that people must use the Bible as a guide and they must adhere to it for their life. Well, I think if you rely on the Bible entirely for your life and the Torah or the Quran for your life, then you need to think a little bit harder. The people that wrote those things lived hundreds, thousands of years ago. Life was different. Lifespans were shorter. People lived for 25, 30, 35 years and they were gone. So relying on a historical document like that for all of your worldview, for everything you do, is your only basis for life, I think is deeply troubling. You have to temper it with the realities of the modern world and the exigencies of technology, all of those things together. So I don't fault the Amish, for instance, for eschewing, I like that word, eschewing things like modern convenience, like electricity and automobiles and things like that. Many of the Amish still to this day in America do not use those things. That's fine. That's their prerogative. No objection to that. They manage to get by without those things. But they also adhere to the laws of the 21st century United States. They're faithful Americans. They accept our culture, our mores, our norms. They may not live all of them the same way that we do, the rest of us Americans, but they're part of the country. But they also use the Bible, and they don't own slaves. I think that's where you were going with that. I don't know what those passages are about, but I think you were talking about slavery in the Bible. Amish have never owned slaves. They never owned servants. They never owned anybody. All they own is their land and their hearts and their souls. And they live by the Bible. So I don't think that excising things from the Bible are the right approach. I don't think it's healthy. So I disagree, Proud Neanderthal. I hope I answered your question, Proud Neanderthal. If I got it correctly, make sure I got it. Dana Princess says the K word is banned in South Africa. The Muslims can call non-Muslims the K word. Well, I think, see, there you go, Dana Princess. That's ludicrous. See, South Africa has the most liberal constitution in the world, and the longest, except it's not, because free speech is banned in South Africa. Try using the K word, which is which is an Arabic word. Try using the K word in South Africa and see what happens to you. You can be arrested because you hurt someone's names. You called them a name. How childish is that? And I don't want to hear the historical dispensation and the use of the term. No. I had a conversation in response to my Sia Khaleesi video earlier, which a gentleman politely responded and said, well, you can never know what it's like to be black. You got me there. You can never know what it's like to be white. You can never know what it's like to be attacked and beaten and assaulted by a gang of people because of the color of your skin when you're white. So what's your point? Stop with the victimhood. Move on. It's pathetic. It's sad. And it doesn't speak well of people that they must use victimhood and create laws to give them advantages to protect them. Respect yourself and others will respect you. And if they don't, then don't associate with them. The world's full of bigots and less so racist. Why hang out with them? Why be around them? If they're toxic, stay away from them. Don't invite to your house. Don't hang out with them. There's your answer. It's interesting to see a country where the majority of the population is one skin pigmentation create laws to discriminate against a minority based on different skin pigmentation, making an excuse of something that happened over 3 decades ago and lasted for about 4 decades at max. And you could arguably stretch it back to about 8 decades when we've got a whole human history of the last 200,000 years and the last 10,000 years of civilization. We can talk about this, and it's happening around the world. So it's just really, really unfortunate. So Steve Hofmeyer will be my guest on Friday, folks, and we'll be talking about that because that is in his video. So Daniel Prinsloo, I hope I answered your point, your question. Bradley says, Negro denotes black in Spanish. That is correct. It's a word derived from the Latin word meaning black, which itself is Proto-Indo-European. Yeah, exactly right. But people attach moral value to things. This is why whenever I talk to Americans in the context of South Africa, so if you watch the video that's somewhere on the stream, there's a link to it, my Great Decisions briefing, when I was still serving the Army 2 years ago, at the Army History and Education Center here in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. I gave a presentation on South Africa's a fragile democracy, which I made the argument at the time that South Africa is not quite as fragile as people make it out to be. 2 years later, I started to wonder if I was premature in that. But that was 2 years ago, and I think it was an accurate assessment at the time. Now, it's a very different situation. But in that video, I talk about how I mentioned to a crowd of mostly elderly white folks who attended that presentation because it was open to the public. I mentioned, I used the word colored, and I said, not in the 1950 sense of Selma, Alabama, or Little Rock, Arkansas, and Brown versus the Board of Education, where people see the term colored as an insult or a slight. That's not the case at all. In fact, people in South Africa, it's a term of pride. People are known as coloreds, and they have no objection to that. So kind of like the Rehoboth Bastas, it's the word translated to bastard, but they have no problem with it. They've accepted it, and it's theirs, and they own it. And so, yeah, it's the word Negro should not hurt anybody's feelings. It's just color. That's what it means. And it does come from Latin originally. Thank you very much for that, Bradley. Good point. And let's see. Doc Barry says, I think probably NFL is coming from an angle like when Christians setting the Library of Alexandria on fire, not a negative angle. Christians burn the library in Alexandria? Who burned the library in Alexandria? That, by the way, is one of the great losses to mankind, the loss of that library. That library was amazing. Tom said, hey, Tom, maybe I'm seeing, there's a number of people I haven't seen on the channel in a while lately. I wonder if I got boogers hanging from my nose or I said something that hurt somebody's feelings, but people have been regulars on the channel. Maybe they're just busy. Hey, there's Marabani. Welcome, Marabani. Maybe they're just busy. Yeah, everybody's got things to do. So, Tom, reference your post wearing uniform. Does that mean that when I go to Arlington as a permanent resident, I have to wear the can you wear your uncle's Ike jacket? No, actually, the way it works, Tom, I think is this, is you can, I know you can't wear your uncle's Ike jacket. You got two choices. You can wear the uniform you retired in, the dress service uniform you retired in, or your mess uniform. That you're allowed to wear for the social functions that are delineated. What we're talking about, folks, by the way, is Tom is a retired U.S. Army officer, well, NCO retired, but he was an officer previously, and I am a retired Army officer. We have regulations that allow us to wear our uniform with our decorations and such for national holidays like Independence Day, and then also for Memorial Day, Veterans Day, things like that. But also for funerals and weddings, we can go to those wearing our military uniform. Now, of course, I can't go with this. This Paul Kruger thing is going to have to go if I put my uniform on, and the hair will have to be to standard. So you wear your hair and your facial grooming standards to standard. But the choice is the one that you're retired in, which for me is the blue uniform. That's my service uniform. Or the current uniform that is the service uniform. That's what you can wear, Tom. So you can't wear Eisenhower's, his khaki jacket from back in the day. You have to wear either one you retired in at the moment you retired or the existing one now. So if the Army changes to another uniform, which they're in the process of doing now, 10 years from now, another one, and we're still kicking, Tom, then if we can wear the one we retired in, which gets hard to acquire because, put on a few pounds, after retirement, you think it doesn't quite fit anymore. And they don't sell the old ones at some point. So you're kind of forced to buying the new one at some point, unless you want to pay a fortune for bits and pieces of the old uniform. Anyway, so that's kind of to answer Tom's question. Let me catch back up where we're at now. Carrie says, what's your opinion on religion? Are you an atheist, agnostic, or subscribe to a particular religion? Well, that's a fair question. And let me get that. Jumped ahead on me there. Let me answer that. So, yeah, so here's the deal. I'm a Christian. I'm not a person who has a deep faith. I don't go to churches. I don't attend churches. I did in my youth. I was in church choir and things like that, been baptized and all that. But to me, faith is between an individual and their maker, if they believe in a maker, whatever that deity may or may not be. So, no, I'm not agnostic. What I do take is great offense to the treatment of Christians. Not because I'm a devout Christian, but because I just find it offensive. We bend over backwards to accommodate all of the religions in this country, but since the 1980s, Christians have been targeted endlessly by the media and politicians. I remember the 1980s, and I fell for this too. They made Jerry Falwell out to be some kind of lunatic and nut job, and they endlessly reported on these scamsters who professed to be Christians, like Jim and Tammy Faye Baker, who were hoodwinking people and stealing their money, and that's the focus. Never mind the fact that most of the people who followed their church were people of deep faith, and they weren't the criminals, just the criminals who stole from them. But they painted Jerry Falwell and his moral majority as a bunch of lunatics, and that's what's in the press all the time. And so, like a young sheep, not knowing any better and not being able to think critically for myself, courtesy of a public education, it took me a little time to come to realization that why are they attacking Jerry Falwell all the time? All this guy is saying is this, this, and this, and that's not necessarily bad or evil. And I started paying closer attention to it. And ever since then, I've been dismayed by the attack on Christians and all the nonsense that takes place. So when I lived in Tunisia, well, let me bring this back. If you see anyone, even for a moment, talk about doing something near a mosque or desecrating a mosque or a synagogue, they're attacked as evil Christians, whether they're Christian or not. But when I was in Tunisia, the French had long withdrawn most French from Tunisia decades prior, after independence in 56. And there were a lot of Catholic churches in Tunisia because the French were Catholics by and large. So I used to drive by to avoid traffic on this side road, and it was interesting to me as I drove by a former Catholic church with the bell still in the tower, the steeple still there, and a sign out front, police. They turned a Catholic church into a police station. You want to talk about sacrilege? What about the Hagia Sophia in Constantinople? I'm sorry, Istanbul. Yes, Islam came there in 1452, defeated the Byzantine Empire, and then built a mosque on top of the holiest shrine, the Cathedral of Justinian, for the Eastern Orthodox Church. Now, talk about sacrilege and shame and disrespect for religion. We don't talk about that. So I have great issues with the way that Christians around the world are treated, and they're dismissed as if they're kind of like, full of witchcraft and nonsense like that by the very people who believe in things that aren't scientific themselves, yet they profess to be scientific. So yeah, I feel a great deal of sense of camaraderie with Christians, although I'm not a person that's of devout faith. Probably Neanderthal does the same thing again. I can write Arabic 1, 2, 3. Exactly. We get our numbers from the Arabs, the way we write them. I hope that answers your question, Carrie. David says, apparently the rough is between Ramaphosa and Ace's sons being allegedly linked to Oh, well, there you go. But it doesn't take much for them to dust up. They dig in and it goes. Rudy says, color is just that. A color means nothing. It's the cultures that clash. I agree. Hey, Tins, good evening. Sharon Westfall, Marbani, Pradinathar, are you guys speaking code? It's a good question, Sharon. I was wondering that myself. Daniel Prinsley says, and everyone else, humans complain about rights. Every human has only one right, and that's the right to be responsible. Well, I don't know about that, Daniel. I think everyone has the right to exist, to live unmolested. I think that's a right. There's a certain set of innate human rights that I believe in. So, but I get your point. Devin Wills says apartheid equals separateness. We just did not like voodoo and animal slaughter in our backyard. We wanted Western norms, not multi-meds. Yeah. Yep. No. I get that. The problem is that in order to implement that, Devin, a patently unfair and unjust system was created, which set South Africa on a path against the world at some point. Not initially, but it was going to eventually develop in that way. So a lot of people criticize Hendrik Verwoerd for his approach and called him a racist. But if you actually read what Verwoerd said, and if you believe what he believed, then I don't think he really was a racist. He was more about the whole concept of separateness and apartness. But the way it unfolded and the way the spoils were unfolded with the economy and things like that, it's difficult to support that system. Life in the Bantustans was not particularly good, and not simply because they had corrupt leadership, but because resources, the way they're divvied up. So the system, if it had been fully committed to that separateness, would have developed in a very different way, in my view. But I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying it would have developed very differently. Right. Caligula. Okay. I'm sure most South Africans don't care about the color of government as long as they do the job. Rudy, I think a lot of people, that's true, but probably about a third of people do care intensely about it. Proudly Neanderthal says just one correction. The Bible changes every year. The Codex Vaticanus has books. Your Bible do not. I don't know what you're talking about, Proudly Neanderthal. Now you are talking code to me. Yeah, I'm not okay. The Crusaders did it. They were not the same. The Crusaders burned the library at Alexandria. I don't think so. I think the library in Alexandria was burned long before that. I could be wrong about that. Not an expert on Greek history, but I think it was burned long before that. Elizabeth says we're here listening. Well, thank you, Elizabeth. I think I missed you for a few days. There's Helen. Welcome, Helen. Trying to make up for 2 months of lockdown. No kidding. I got you on that one. Well, by the way, did I mention that this Friday, Steve Hofmeyer will be on Chris Wide Africa? I'm just saying, folks. Now, you better not reschedule on me. But this Friday at 12 Eastern Standard Time here in the U.S., at 6 p.m. in South Africa, Botswana, 5 p.m. in Windhoek, Abuja, and London. Steve Hofmeyer, renowned Afrikaans cultural icon, music sensation, acting success, cultural activist Steve Hofmeyer here on Chris Wine Africa, the star of Egoli and Sieben Dalan, as well as the musician who brought us the likes of Pa and Son, along with Bok van Blerk, and then, of course, Die Land, with Bob van Blerk, Bobby van Jasveld, and of course a couple of other artists, including Jay from Jay and Leanime. Cool. Check it out. This should be this Friday. It should be a lot of fun. I hope you guys can get here and enjoy that. I'm looking forward to that. Let me see. Catch back up here on the chat. Just, Bradley said something there. Hey, oh, there's a lot of smiles here. Let me see what else we got here. Fiona, that word will trigger an alarm on your YouTube's algorithm. Delete or lose your channel. I'm not sure what word will do that. Okay. Rudy says, we as national servicemen could keep our beards when doing annual service. Yeah, well, we're not allowed to. In fact, in the Navy, when I first came in the military 37 years ago, the Navy still allowed certain types of officers, I think warrant officers, to have beards. So they had facial hair up until, I want to say, the early 1990s, and then the Navy required all clean shaven as well. So we don't allow any of that in our military at all. Historically, we did in the Navy and the military. I mean, look at all the Civil War generals. They all got this long, flowing beards, so different time. Southern Metalhead, there are 3 possible culprits who burned down the library: Julius, the Crusaders, and the Muslims. I'm not sure who it was either. So, Ben Hashem says, South Africa will be great again when these thieving commies are out of government. The grip of foreign interference is gone, and the country is run by people who all have citizens' interest in mind. Well, I'd agree with that, Ben. I think that's a formula for success for South Africa. It has the mineral wealth. It has the agricultural wealth. Despite the fact that only 12% of the land is arable, it has the agricultural wealth. It has the capacity. It has the infrastructure. It has the strategic location. It has the advanced education system. Despite the fact that science must fall, hashtag science must fall, it has all of these attributes that make it possible for South Africa to soar. But it requires people to remove, at the ballot box, a government that has become enamored with state capture and obfuscation, distraction. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain as we're busy over here stealing on this side. Pay no attention to what's going on over here. Wax on or wax off. This government has become devoted to that. In addition, it's become devoted to racializing every aspect of life in South Africa in an effort to disguise what is going on behind the curtain. And that's really, really sad. There are actually legitimate, honest, patriotic members of the African National Congress. It's not all a bunch of lunatic cabal thieves and racist. No, it's not. There are actually legitimate people in that party. But shame on them for allowing their party to be taken in this direction. Shame on them. And that's what I have to say on that matter. There's Lars Solis. Hey, Lars Solis. Nostalgic Binar. Good to see you again. You were in a choir. Go on then sing. No, Nostalgic Binar. Okay, here's the thing. I've said this before on the channel. I cannot sing. I can rap, but I cannot sing. I actually had a pretty good voice until puberty. And after puberty, went from up here to down here, and somewhere in between in that transition, lost the talent, completely gone. I have no ability to sing whatsoever, and it's horrible. It's like caterwauling. Hence my appreciation for the talented musicians, because it's not something I can do. Yep, no, I'm not singing. Let's see what else we got here. Bradley says, I had an interesting conversation on the weekend how the current parliament is bloated. Started looking it up. Pre-1985, 100 members are currently except 400 members. You have 400 members in parliament. That's correct. Yeah, it's far larger than it needs to be. What about the provincial parliaments or ministries, parliaments, we want to call them, chambers? There's way too many representatives there. Too many ward councillor for some of these municipal areas. Yeah, the government's bloated. And it's not just that. Look at cabinet. Jacob Zuma had 63 cabinet positions. 63. Who needs 63 cabinets? This is Dave. He's head of the ministry for, we need another ministry, so he's head of that ministry. There you go. Congratulations, Dave. Welcome. Utterly ridiculous. No one should have more than a dozen or 15 cabinet positions in any country whatsoever, at max. First off, the deal with a cabinet, ladies and gentlemen, is it's supposed to be a function of the bureaucracy of the state, executing what the chief executive needs to be executed. And you have to know who they are. If you have 63 people who are ministers, when will you ever see those ministers? If you're Jacob Zuma, when are you going to see anything beyond your defense minister, your finance minister, your, informal settlements and uncooperative governments settlement? That's about it. It's interior minister. That's what that is. You're going to see 4 or 5 ministers, and that's about it. Patrick, was that Vukafenig? Hang on a second. I got to see what that is. That's my attention. It is Vukafenig. That's an interesting surname. I have never seen that surname before, folks. welcome to the channel. Just subscribe to the channel. So welcome to Chris White Africa. But you guys haven't caught it yet. The Easter egg has been missed. Okay, look on your screen and look in the top left-hand corner versus the top right-hand corner. Do you notice that my Indaba Africa logo has been moved? That's one of the Easter eggs. No one got that one. Yeah, no. So the purpose of a cabinet is so that the president or the prime minister can turn to an individual and tell them, this is the mission, execute it. When you got 63 people, there aren't even enough chairs in the room. That's ludicrous. Now, Ramaphosa's cabinet's a lot smaller. I think he has, 36 or something like that. But that's still ludicrous. That's an example of people who are milking the state. You don't need that many cabinets. In fact, why divide up your resources into so many different places? Because all of them have to have an office. They all have to have a building somewhere. They all have to have a budget, right? Different size budgets. But you have a bureaucracy to support all those departments. It's utter nonsense. And South Africa, if I were king for the day, ladies and gentlemen, the new president of South Africa, Chris White, welcome, Mr. President. What's your first step? Well, ladies and gentlemen, my first step is to end the racialization of South African society. So the next person that comes to me and says this is because this, because this, because that color, I will give you hashtag sack of cock and send you out the door. Sec, be on your way. Bye-bye. Thank you for playing. No consolation prizes for you. Take your racism and your racialization, your race merchant baiting out of here. We are here to deal with real issues in South Africa. That's the first step. Number two, ladies and gentlemen, my cabinet will have 12 ministers maximum. We will reorganize government. We will trim the fat and we'll remove people. Well, of course, shortly after that, I'll have a magical traffic accident to take me out. But that would be my first two steps. The next step would be to twist the arm of the parliament to remove broad-based black economic empowerment. The next step after that, as president of South Africa, would be to implement genuine education reform and would be to take the police and use their investigators to go after the pedophiles who proliferate in public education, getting sex from prepubescent girls in order to give them grades, and I would prosecute them. Those would be the first steps I'd take as president of South Africa. Fix education. And then I begin a program of finding a way to create a national sovereign wealth fund. Not the one announced by Cyril Ramaphosa, which is bull, but a genuine national sovereign wealth fund. One in which corporations could contribute to, individuals could contribute to, and the state could take its state-owned assets, retain stakes in them, and privatize them. And the stake they retain goes in the National Sovereign Wealth Fund for the benefit of all South Africans. Now, unfortunately, for the first 3 or 4 decades, which will survive my lifetime, the first 3 or 4 decades, that National Sovereign Wealth Fund will only pay out to people based on need and income. And that's not unreasonable. So if you make under a certain amount of money, you would get a payout from the National Sovereign Wealth Fund. And that's how we would do it, ladies and gentlemen. But ultimately, the idea would be anybody could qualify. But it would have to be means tested until we lift more people out of poverty in South Africa, give them more opportunity. And that's what I would do as president of South Africa. Just to start there, just in case you guys are curious, thought I'd share that with you. Let me catch up here. Chat's all over the place now. Here we go. Who is that? Oh, it's Mari Fori. Welcome, Mari. Good to see you there, Mara. Dress blues. Tom likes this. Bradley says that. Oh, I got that one. Carrie says succinct answer. You're welcome, Carrie. We are speaking code. I was running a code bunny on a code bunny. Thank you, Marabani, for sharing that. And Proud Neanderthal is a speciesist. Good for you. Hey, Lynn, there you go. Got the cherry blossoms going. Lynn, I always know that's you when I see the cherry blossoms. That's cool. Man, am I that far behind in the chat? No, it's something's acting up here. Okay. Yeah, my chat's acting up here. So, catching up. There we go. Okay. What's this? Sightlanders? No. I didn't say anything about Sightlanders. When are we going to hear Giselle's music again? Erica, that's a good question. I've been on the line with Johan today for a couple things. He congratulated me on Steve Hofmeyer agreeing to appear on the channel. I'd like to get Giselle back on sometime soon, but they're pretty busy trying to book acts and keep things going during lockdown. So I'll ask. What I can do is maybe I'll play a... maybe I do a half-hour segment or something like that and play a couple of her songs. But the thing is, I get copyright claims every time. Even though the system is supposedly turned off by Johan, CD Baby hits me all the time. And when they blocked my video, that frightened me. Because when they start blocking your videos, then the next step is a copyright strike, and then your channel gets shut down. I only get shut down because these clowns refuse to recognize the license that I have from the artist who's granted to me. It's very frustrating. So until that's sorted out, I'm not going to be playing her music, and it sucks. I'd like to get her music back on the channel, but it's not because I don't want to, folks. I'd love to get her music on, but I don't want to risk being shut down. on social media, you already run the risk of being shut down just for having cogent conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, look at the impact of my farm murder video, which in the first 8 hours had 7,500 views. In the first 24 hours, it had 12,000 views. Now, 2 days later, it has 14,000 views. How do you go from 1,200 views an hour to 22 views an hour? And no, I'm not talking about 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm talking about the same hour of the day, the next day. 1,243 views to 20 views. That only happens when your video is being hidden and people aren't aware of it. Previously, it was being promoted. Now, why did that happen? See, this is what the power of YouTube is in its algorithm. Apparently, it didn't like something that I said in the video or the title of it, and all I did was quote the president of South Africa. There are no farm murders in South Africa, President Cyril Ramaphosa. And that was my title of my video. And in the video, it's funny because people wrote comments and said, well, you know, who said black people are killing people? I said, I don't know. Who said that? I didn't. I never said anything about black people killing anybody in my video. I was talking about rural insecurity in South Africa, and I talked about all the people who are vulnerable. Includes whites, blacks, Indians, and Asians, Indians, yeah, and coloreds. So they did that to my video. My Sia Khaleesi video slowed down immensely, but that video is 12 days old, so that's not unusual. But to see a video that was getting 1,200 views in an hour, that's a lot of views, folks. Go to 20 views an hour, you know something's up. Now, if it's a week later, okay, it's ran out of steam. It's had its time, and it's had its time in the sunlight. But after less than 24 hours that happening, yeah, you got to wonder about that one, folks. Anyway, but speaking of which, my Sia Khaleesi video is 53,000 viewers so far. Thank you so much for that. That's really awesome. Appreciate it. Doc Breaker says, I don't think it was the Crusaders. Remember, yeah, it wasn't Crusaders. That sounds odd to me, too. And Candace Shvema has just subscribed. Thank you, Candace, for subscribing to the channel. By the way, if you're here on the channel right now, folks, and you're not a subscriber, you find this mildly interesting or something that suits your taste or needs, feel free to subscribe to the channel. It's right down there. What's it? Right down there. There you go. Smash that button right down there, and you can become a subscriber. For the low introductory and permanent price of $0, 0 rand, 0 shekels, 0 pounds. It costs nothing to become a subscriber. If, however, you're so inclined, you want to support the channel, you find it interesting, and you have the means. Not everybody has the means, especially in the wake of the pandemic and millions and tens of millions of job loss around the world. Not everybody has the means. But if you have the means, you'd like to support the channel, you too can become a member of Chris Wyatt Africa. We have over 90 members of the channel. Thank you all so much for being members, those who are able to do it. Really do appreciate it. 3 levels of membership. There's a video on the channel explaining what memberships are, how super chats work, and all that stuff. Because like a lot of you, I didn't understand memberships. I didn't understand super chats, any of that stuff, or what that's all about. So I explained all that in the video in layman's terms. That's here on the channel, and I think it's a pretty cool video. So that people want to do that sort of thing, you can check it out. But anyway, so there's 3 levels. There's recruit team member. There's kind of a military theme here, and then there's platoon leader. And then the 3rd level is Master and Commander. I couldn't resist. I really like that movie. Anyway, so 3 different levels, even though that's a Navy theme. And if you're in the U.S., that's $1.99 a month to become a member at the recruit team member level. But if you're in South Africa, it's a super deal, ladies and gentlemen. That is just 9 Rand 99. And that is not $2 a month. That is not even close to $2 a month, folks. 10 Rand, not even close. Anyway, so it's a good deal. And after YouTube takes its 3rd, and then the IRS takes its 28%, and the state of Pennsylvania takes its 4%, I get about 32 cents. So trust me, it's not about making money. It's about a sense of community for those who are part of it. We have members only, but we don't call it members only. I call it members perks. Live streams, call-in shows, and also strategic videos. So there's a few features. If you want to do it, check it out. Anyway, back to the conversation. Enough of that shameless promotion of the channel. Shame, 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 shame. Have you seen a beard catch fire? Agent 17 says, no, and I'm not interested in seeing mine catch fire. Thank you for that. By the way, folks, if you don't know, this is a new look for me. I'm in my 50s now, and I never had a beard before because I've been serving active duty for 36 and a half years in the Army, and you have to have a clean-shaven face. So this started growing around Christmas time, and with some trims, this is what you get about 8 months later. So, the Paul Kruger, or the John Brown the Abolitionist look, or perhaps maybe it's the Pete Retief look. There you go. Pete Retief. Yes, but I don't want to meet the fate that Pete met because Dingane done him up badly. Yes. Absolutely the case. Yeah, so back to the chat, and then I see a few things coming in. Whoa, what's that? Brett has given a super chat $4.99 through Super Chat. And he says, let's talk about the COVID-19 situation in Namibia. Absolutely. But before that, it didn't come up for some reason, or maybe it's coming up in a moment. But Kolasang Litutsane has become a member at there it is, Kolasang Litutsane, which is like the coolest name, guys. How do you not like that name? Kolasang Litutsane. That's a cool name. Who's been active on the channel late in the chat. Thank you for becoming a member at the recruit team member level. So I salute you. That's pretty cool. All right, well, let's talk, Brett, about Namibia and about the COVID-19 situation there. Namibia has over 2,200 confirmed cases of COVID-19, and I think 10 deaths, when I looked yesterday, was attributed to COVID-19. Country of approximately 2.6 million people, massive physical geographic size, Namibia, thinly populated, one of the most thinly populated countries on the continent, and it has a handful of cases. You know, that's just a fraction of a percentage, the 2,000 plus confirmed cases. But they are concerned about a spike in cases, and famously, Namibia took a long time to develop many cases and didn't have its first death until long after the COVID-19 pandemic started. But now there are 10 deaths, and they're a little bit concerned about that, so they're upping some of the constraints. But some things in Namibia haven't changed. For instance, actually, it's gotten better. If you're an international tourist, you could go to Namibia if you could find a flight there. I'm not sure how you get there because Johannesburg flights, as far as I know, we're no longer flying to Windhoek, but I think the Frankfurt flights were still flying there. So if you wanted to go there as an international tourist, up until this past week, you had to spend 14 days in quarantine when you got to Namibia, and that's not very appealing. There's your whole vacation, folks. Why bother going? Well, they've now rescinded that so long as you have a valid negative polymerase chain reaction, or PCR test. In other words, that's where they look at the RNA for the virus. As long as you have a PCR test that's within 48 hours of your arrival, you're okay. And you don't have to be quarantined. You can go to Namibia and travel around. So, yeah, that's taking place. But they also have shut the schools down for 4 weeks for 28 days, effective tomorrow, the 4th of August, for 28 days. So another month, it's gone. No school in Namibia. Ladies and gentlemen, folks should start to get very concerned about what's happening to education and the youth around the world. This is not conducive to a literate and informed population. And this problem will be a bump across 12 grades and universities for the foreseeable future. And the harm from this is far greater than people realize. It is a real problem. It is a serious, serious problem. If you have a child who's just learning how to read and write, now they're not learning how to read and write. That learning is delayed at a critical time. It's as bad as children who are denied sufficient protein in their youth as they're developing under the age of 5, and they develop diminished brain capacity, diminished cognitive skills because they didn't get enough protein. This is a similar situation to that, and this is something that people aren't talking about. It's very scary, very, very scary. So I wish people would talk about this more. Let me catch up in the chat. Oh, Carrie wants me to sing. I am not singing. My thoughts on Southern's possible involvement in the latest Zimbabwe uprisings. What do you mean by uprisings, Chad? What uprisings? The demonstrations that were planned? That's not really an uprising, unless something happened today that I'm aware of. Zimbabwe on Friday was supposed to have massive demonstrations on the last day of the month. And what happened is that the police, Zimbabwe Republic Police, put out a hit list of names of human rights activists and lawyers and opposition politicians they believed to be behind this. And they went out and tried to arrest all these people. They managed to arrest a few of them. Many went into hiding. And then a few people actually showed up for the demonstrations, including an acclaimed novelist in Zimbabwe, and they were arrested and thrown in jail. Yeah, the government of Zimbabwe cannot broker any dissent whatsoever, and this is what we see. This is what we're living with. So there you go, folks. Kind of sad, kind of sad, kind of sad. But that is Zimbabwe. I don't know about any uprisings, so please share, Chad, which uprisings you're referring to, because I just don't know it. Southern Metalhead says Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses are fun to talk to. Jehovah's Witnesses, no, I don't have a lot of fun talking to them. Mormons are pretty cool people. The ANC needs 63 cabinet positions. They're still trying to figure out where the electricity comes from, says Southern Metalhead. What else? Donna Tango 63 is dropping off the daughter, heading for Army training this midday. Yay. Steve Hofmeyer loved his letter to Mr. Black Lives Matter. Yeah, it was good. I also like how I mixed it up. You, Mr. Black Lives Matter. You, Mrs. Black Lives Matter. That was highly entertaining. Not just informative, but highly entertaining. So that should be interesting. Somebody's deleting your comments. Did you misbehave, Proud Neanderthal? A moderator can't delete your comments if you're misbehaving. First step, ladies and gentlemen, if a moderator isn't required to give you a warning if they perceive you to be misbehaving or bullying or saying something, unrelated or provocative, they can give you a warning. They're not required to under my guidelines, but they can delete your messages so that they're out of the stream, and that should come as a hint that you're doing something that's potentially off market. If you disagree, then send me a private email after the session. I obviously can't read it during the session, and I'll look at it and I'll adjudicate it. And if I agree with you, Nicholas Groves has got the zombie climbing right up the Mahalisburg there, just past my business card in the upper corner. 35 Rand super chat, and I'll get to that in just a moment, Nicholas. But Proudly Neanderthal, if your message is deleted, it's a moderator because they thought you were being cheeky or problematic. I didn't see what the message was, so I can't speak to it. That's the first step, or potentially a second step. Third step is to give you a timeout. People can be given a timeout for 5 minutes or longer, or you can be removed from the chat. Or in a severe case, you can be removed from the channel, and then you can't even come back on the channel. That happened, and one of my moderators did that to somebody. I didn't see why they did it. I just saw a message, and there was nothing particularly egregious about it. I just thought there was a difference of opinion, so I missed some chat. I brought the person back in, and then my moderator huffed and puffed and ran away and left the channel and has never come back and hasn't even had the courtesy to respond to me. So it goes both ways, Proudly Neanderthal. I lost a moderator who's also a member of my channel, so maybe some revenue from it because his feelings were hurt apparently and is not man or woman enough to come back and say to me, hey, I think that you overruled me unnecessarily. Well, I can overrule people if I see it happening, but I can't keep up with all the chat, folks. I don't get all the comments appearing in front of me. Sometimes YouTube doesn't feed them all through. So anyway, Proud Neanderthal, just hang in there. I'm sure it wasn't malicious. Someone just felt you were doing something wrong. Lars Salas says Zuma needs to be rewarded. What? Oh, he needed to reward people for getting into power after the rape and corruption scandals. Lots of rewards everywhere. Well, what people forget about Jacob Zuma is he was the head of MK's intelligence and Koto Isizwe's intelligence unit, and he knew where all the bodies were buried. So that's part of the consideration too, folks. Yep, absolutely part of the consideration too. 3 ministers of education plus 3 at each provincial level, 30 total. That's right. That's ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. Can't sing, not even Jody. Oh, I can sing Jody calls, man. I can sing Jody calls. Jody calls, by the way, for those who don't know, that's when you're marching or you're running in formation, you know. Anyway, that's what that is. You sing those things out. When I first came to the military, they were not politically correct. They were also not gender correct. And so those went away during my time in the military and was probably for the best. Not the best, not the best. Enemy forces to South is not a small country. Is not a small African country. Did I say it was? It is relatively compared. It's not small for Africa, I suppose. What else we got here? Maurice says, interesting chat. Oh, there's Nicholas. Okay, Nicholas gave a 35 Rand super chat. Hi, Colonel. With malnutrition is linked to brain growth, the ANC are famished. Did you get my mail? Nicholas, I did get mail from you. I'm not sure which one you're referring to. I have to go back and look at it, though. I'm caught up on all my mail, I think. Yeah, I don't think I'm behind on any of that, so I'll have to take a look. My apologies. Bad Brad says, do you wax your beard? No, I don't wax my beard. I don't know beard etiquette. And I can't go to a salon or a barber shop and learn because they're not doing beards now because of hysterical COVID regulation. So they can cut my hair without a mask on, but they can't cut my beard. So the proximity to this apparently is far safer than the proximity to this. Yeah, anyway. Hysteria, not science, rules the roost around the world, as politicians who claim to be pro-science are clueless. They're into witchcraft, muti, and other nonsense. Okay. Let's see. Brett says the Ebola pandemic that has been going on for 2 years in Eastern Congo has ended, but now has hit the Western DRC. Well, yeah, it pops up periodically, Brett. That's the thing. It's endemic in southwestern Uganda. That's one of the reasons why when I was in Uganda, we oversaw a research program for Ebola research there, which we spent millions of dollars each year because the virus is endemic in that region. So we had a program going in Uganda, which we financed through the National Institutes of Health and Walter Reed Medical Center. Southern Metalhead says, Zuma, head of MK Intelligence, explains, like, yeah, he knows where all the bodies are buried, all the way back to the Angola days. Yep, that's right. He knows where all the bodies are buried. Brett says, do you remember Unsolved Mysteries with Robert Stack? I love this show. Yeah, no, it's great. Unsolved Mysteries is great. I also remember back in the day with Leonard Nimoy, a program predated that by a couple decades called In Search Of with Leonard Nimoy. I love that show. That was awesome. That was really cool. In Search Of. Really, really love that. What else? Conditioner helps. Oh, for the beard. Zuma, head of intelligence, never set foot in a secondary school. That's true, and he's functionally illiterate. So there you go. Carrie says, if you had to come back to Africa to live, which African country would you choose and why? Well, Carrie, that's a good question. I've been asked that question before, and I would have to say that the odds are pretty good that I'd want to live for proximity and for environment and that sort of thing. I'd probably live in Botswana. That way I can go to South Africa all the time. It's just right there. I wouldn't mind living in South Africa, but something needs to be done. As a foreign national, if I can't have a firearm, I think I'd be a little concerned in a lot of places in South Africa. And I'm a person who's never told anyone that they shouldn't go to South Africa on holiday. I've always encouraged people to go. But things are really out of control now. And it's not just out of control from a crime standpoint, but people becoming victims because of the color of their skin, because they're being targeted, because politicians are encouraging the abuse of minorities in South Africa. I mean, when a 26-year-old, 4-month pregnant Indian woman is slaughtered, not killed, slaughtered. When you slice someone's throat from ear to ear, that's a slaughter. That's what you do to livestock in a slaughterhouse. That's not a murder. That's a slaughter. When you slaughter a 4-month pregnant Indian woman on a farm and you see her 4-year-old, 8-year-old, knowing that those children grow up without a family, without a mother, what's wrong with you? What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Anyway, so that's what you see happening in South Africa, folks. And it's not just the occasional. It's not here and now or there. It's not, we're 60 people a day dying in the country. Yes, we have murders in America. That's true. But when you put it per 100,000, it's not even close. Not even close. And it's not just the murder. It's the racialization of everything. I mean, ludicrous things like the president of South Africa saying, white people are naturally racist. It's their tendency to be racist, and that's why we have domestic abuse. Really? So you're telling me that the Zulu and the Xhosa and the Ndebele never beat their spouses before the arrival of white Europeans in Southern Africa? Come on. What dream world are you living in, man? And obviously, he isn't living in that world. Southpaw Charlie, hey, Southpaw part. That's left-handed. That's a euphemism for left-handed, Southpaw. I, too, am left-handed, so I'm a Southpaw. I used to be a pitcher. That's what we call left-handed pitchers, Southpaws. Yeah, it says Southpaw, but we say Southpaw. Don't ask me why. It's like Afrikaans pronunciation. How do you get Gerhard out of Gerhard? You tell me. Anyway, it's just the way things wind up being pronounced. Or it's like Leicester. How do you get Leicester out of Leicester? That's Leicester or something like that. But the English say Leicester. Go figure. Or Worcester from Worcester. W-O-R-S-H-T-E-R. Worcester it is, but they spell it Worcester. They say Worcester. It's just the way things are pronounced, and they change over time. So, yeah, Southpaw, that means a left-handed pitcher in baseball. So thank you for joining, Southpaw Charlie. Welcome to the channel. I hope you enjoy it and the content. And can we see a pic of you without the beard? Yeah, sure. Let me see if I can find one here real quick. I had one up before. Let me see. Let me do this. I had it here for a long time. Get a couple of these here. Yeah, the beard is new. So let me find one of these pictures here. Give me a second here, folks. Be patient while I look for a picture of me without a beard. There are plenty of them that I have handy on the drive, but I just want to get the right one. Don't want to give you the wrong impression here. That's not me. That's not me. There's a lot of pictures here from all my streams. Oh, here you go. This is a recent one. That's me without the beard. With anybody know who that is? I'll take a stab at who that might be. Take a stab. I'll give you guys a chance to figure that one out for a moment. That's me without a beard. That's recently. That's last year. That's at a rugby game at Coney Island, New York. That's Major League Rugby, and that's the Rugby United New York team. That's me wearing my Rugby United jersey with my, what do you call those things, fleece cover or whatever it is on top of it, kind of a sweatshirt. And that is, anybody know who that is? That is a famous, well, probably not for South Africans, that is a famous U.S. rugby player, former captain of the USA Eagles. Can anybody guess? Yeah, Worcestershire sauce, Dogbreaker, exactly right. What else? Looking nice without the beard, says Erica. Thank you. It looks so different. Gary says, oh my God, you look so different. I do, don't I? This is a very different look. And not just that, but look at the hair difference. Look at that. And this is after I got my hair cut, folks. I just need to wash it now and brush it. But yeah, that's after you see my hair's not curly normally. It's short like that. But that's me. That is Mike Petrie, folks, since nobody's guessing. Hey, Julia Clausen. Welcome, Julia Clausen. I don't recall seeing you before. Welcome to the channel. Yeah, that's Mike Petrie, scrum half for New York, played for the Eagles, and he's quite a great guy, family man from New York City. Huge rugby fan. Guy is massive, still in great shape in his mid-30s. and he still plays for Rugby United New York. So I've actually asked him to come on the program. I haven't heard back from him. I hope to hear from him. Gosh, I really do. If I do hear back from him, you'll see him on the program. But that is, yeah, that's me. And I'll show you another picture if I can find it real quick, guys. You're going to like this one. If you like that photograph, hang on. Here we go. So, by the way, folks, I'm not going to stay the full long time today. We're going to go about another 20 minutes or so to the bottom of the hour, and then I have to stop because I have to prep for my show with Joe Emilio. But anyway, so let me do this one here real quick. You guys will love this one if you like that one. Let me see if I can find it real quick. It'll take me a moment here, and I'll bring it up on the screen in just a minute. So I think I can find it with a search option here. Is my computer working properly? No, I don't. It's not showing. Come on. Come on. Not there. No, it's not working. I'm going to have to look for it on my own without that function there, so I'll just work my way back. But it should come up. Oops, you can't drink that with the cap on it. It won't work very well. By the way, if you're wondering what the photograph was today for the live stream, that was the local park here when the moon was out a couple of days ago. Pretty cool stuff. Thought I'd show it. Oh, here you go. You guys like this one? Check that one out. There you go. How's that? Do you like that one? Whoops. That is me for a Tri-Nations game or a rugby championship game. Yep, that's I think one of the banks, FMB or somebody like that, had a photo booth out there, and you stand there in your photo. I was wearing that jersey, and that's me, but they superimposed me on the program for that day, which was kind of cool. I really like that. So we got 80 likes, folks, on the channel right now. We're coming up on we're just over an hour. So can we push this up to 194 people currently watching, 80 likes. So clearly not everybody in the stream has liked the stream so far. If we can get a few more out of that, we can bump that up towards 100. And I suspect people have come and gone already because some people had to take off and do other things. But yeah, if you could push that like up, 86, that's a little bit better. Can we get a little bit higher than that? And I'll try to find this other picture, which I used to show on here. And we'll see if you guys like this one. If I can just find it. It's going to take me a moment, but I'll leave that one up there. That's, as I said, it's a game program. I scanned that image from the photo, so it's kind of cool. I really enjoyed that. That was a game where Brian Habana scored like 2 or 3 tries and then pulled his hamstring. It really was a shame. It was a heck of a game, and they lost the All Blacks, which was disappointing, but yeah, quite impressive. Oh, here you go. Check that one out. That is last year. And that was on my way to the Rugby World Cup in Japan. That was in my front yard there before I left. And you can see just a little bit of beard growth there. And now that beard got shaved off, and then it came back. Oh, we're up at 94 likes. Well, thank you guys so much for that. Cool. That was quick. Let me see. Let me see if I can find one more. I still haven't found the one I'm looking for. That's why I keep adding these. But yikes. Just got to keep naming these things so I got to make sure I get the right name here. Sorry. All right, so let me see if I can find this picture one more time, and before I find something else here, but I'll do it this way. Maybe I can find it from the bottom. Oh, wait. Here we go. Okay, here we go. That's not the one I'm looking for, but I'll show you this one anyway. Check that one out. How do you like that one? You guys like that one? That is me in Niger on World AIDS Day in 2012, December 1st, 2012. That's me with the head of the medical services for the FAN, the Force Armée Nigérienne, the Armed Forces of Niger, there in Niamey. So check it out, guys. That's me on my dress blues on World AIDS Day. There you go. Yeah, not a lot of gray in that one, huh? Not a lot of gray in that one. Yeah, that was just a few years ago. Yeah, that one there, that's kind of cool, huh? I'll put that one up there for the moment. Get back up there. And then what I'll do is I keep saying I'm going to find the picture I'm looking for, but I will find it eventually here. Just hang, you guys are being patient with me. So this one you're going to love. Young Chris. If I can find this thing. Yep. And yeah, so that's me without the beard, folks. Believe it or not, that's me without the beard. Yeah, the beard's a new thing. It's not something I've ever had before. I'm accustomed to having. So this thing has got to be in here somewhere. I'm going to keep looking for it this time because I know I had this thing saved. I just took it out because I kept it up there and I was showing it periodically and nobody's asked about it lately, so I just deleted it from my setup for the channel, and I just got to find it again. So it should be in this folder. just looking for it right now. But anyway, I'll catch back up in the chat here in just a minute. Let me just keep looking for this photo real quick. That's not it. Ah, man. Come on. Not finding it. Come on. It's got to be here somewhere. A lot of photographs in my folder here because I've done a lot of streams and I was bringing a lot of images into presentations. And so I need to clean up this folder, actually. Should get around doing that sometime soon. I'll have to think about that. Clean up this folder. All right, people are dropping off because you're bored by my photos now. All right, well, I don't think I'm going to be able to find that then, so give it a moment here. I don't lose the whole audience. And come on, where are you at? Oh, I can't believe this thing isn't here. Should have shown up already. Oh my goodness, a lot of pictures here, folks. A lot of pictures, and I'm not finding the one I want. Anyway, yeah, so I do hope that day's gone well for folks here as we start the new week off. Lots of big news. Oh, by the way, I haven't mentioned here on Wednesday, if you're into survivalism, if you're a prepper, or if you're just concerned about what to do in a crisis, tune into the channel on Wednesday at noon Eastern Standard Time here in the U.S. and 6 p.m. in South Africa and Botswana. I will have on here Citizen Guardian, who is a survivalist, and we'll be talking about survivalism. Yeah, it'll be, you check it out. That'll be really interesting. That's here on this channel on Wednesday. This Wednesday, just 2 days away from now. And that'll be at the regular time for special features, which is at noon here in the U.S. and then at 6 p.m. on the other side. So yeah, so please check that out. That's the oh, now what's going on here? Sorry, that's the Citizen Guardian who will be on the channel with me. It should be a lot of fun, interesting conversation. We'll see how it goes, and hopefully a chance for all of us to learn something from it. So, all right, I'm not finding that photo, but I will show you one from when I first came in the Army. How's this? This is in civilian clothes. Here you go. Check this one out. Okay, there you go. That is me. By the way, that's 20 years old. Check it out. That's in Germany in 1984. How do you like that? There you go. That is a long time ago, ladies and gentlemen. Yep, there you go. That's me in, I want to say that was Bad Münster in Germany. Yep. Not too far from Bad Kreuznach where I was stationed at. So there you go. So that's young Chris. Anyway, let me shut down these others here. Get them out of the way. And close them off. Anyway, so that's some photos. You guys asked for that. So a little bit update of photographs. Hope those were useful and enjoyable without the beard. Definitely without the beard. 3 more likes. Yeah, I need 4 more. I got 96 on my side. Let's see if we get 87 watching it. A lot of people dropped off because apparently they didn't want to see those photos. Brett sent me a message about his mom. Okay, we'll get back to that. I missed that in the chat. Is it Yoo-Hoo chocolate milk? No, Citizen Guardian. This is Starbucks. It's a coffee blend, a little bit of coffee, and it's mostly chocolate and milk and that sort of thing. So it's not a Yoo-Hoo, but good question. When you were in the military, did you meet any soldiers from Mississippi? Yeah, of course, Brett. I sure did. That's soldiers from all over the country. Sad news, my mom says she dies of cancer. Brett, I'm sorry to hear that. My mom also has stage 4 terminal lung cancer. She has metastatic lung cancer. She's been dealing with that for over a year now. It's really it's unfortunate. Sorry to hear about your mom cancer. Hopefully it's something they can resolve. Yep. Thank you, Brett, for sharing that. Nigel was mocked by many in Afrikaner because of my first name. I shall leave. Oh, yeah. Okay. Chin says, in my town, there's a wall at the hospital with an incubator for babies to help stop dumping babies in bins. Quite a problem. Yeah, no, it happens. It's sad. It's a global phenomenon, though. Morton says, Shaka had over 100 pregnant women at various stages of pregnancy to cut open to observe the human fetus. Ugh, jeez, that's science, I guess. Ugh. I've answered Brett's question. So, yeah, Brett, thanks for sharing that with us. And then Carrie says, is that you? Geez, I cannot believe how different you look. I think you must go back to that look. Wow, Carrie, that's nice. I'd love to go back to the 1984 look. That'd be great, but a little bit beyond my control. I haven't quite invented a time machine yet, but I would love to invent that time machine to go back to 1984. But I'd like to be a little better resourced than I was in 84 and be as full of knowledge as I am today. Still a bit of a naive waif out there at that time, the age of 20. Knew a fair amount about the world, but not nearly the kind of stuff I've learned about the world and people since then. Yeah, no, cool stuff. But yeah, the beard definitely makes me look a bit older, that's for sure. Actually look my age for once. Um, what else? Bradley says your pick on the Joe stream is beardless in uniform. I'm not sure which one Joe is using. I think I'm using the one where I'm in dress blue uniform in front of flags. That may be the case, Brad. Very nice in Niger. Yeah, that was pretty cool, Carrie. That was a great photo. Someone asked me if they could take my photo. I'm like, yeah, sure. And I said, well, just take one for me too. So I've got it. Yeah, that was kind of cool. I really enjoyed that. It was a good experience. We have hit 104 likes. Thank you guys so much for that. By a donkey. Really appreciate that. Thank you, folks, so much. Jan says, you have a lot of banners. Can you explain the insignia? Which banners? What insignia? You're talking about here or on the photograph I had? You got to help me out with that, Jan. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Is that an actual Springbok rugby cover, Chris? Yes, it is. Reactionary Opinions. It is very much the actual Springbok. Which one was that? Now I have to see which one it was. There you go. That's an actual Springbok cover. Yep. And that's actually not the full photo. It's longer than that. I wonder if I have the full photo there. Look and see real quick. What happened was they took the actual program for that day, and they made it so you could they took your photograph and they put on top and then printed it out. It's really, really cool stuff. I really enjoyed it. It's nice when they do this stuff. So I just got to find something here very quickly. That's a recent photo. Should be able to find it. Come on here. So yeah, that one I took not all that long ago. I was trying to get a photo for to put on a site, and I had to keep adjusting it, so I wound up trimming that. So that's not the full photograph. I'm just trying to find a full photograph. My goodness, it's amazing how many things you save. You get busy and you forget about how many things you've saved. But yeah, that's I think it was a scan. Let me see that. I think that's what it's called. But anyway, see if that's it. Oh, the programs take so long to open up. So I'm trying to open up the program that does images, and it's just taking forever. So I'll have to give up on that effort. But anyway, yeah, that was from the at Ellis Park in Johannesburg, and that was for a rugby championship game against the All Blacks. And yeah, it was pretty cool. That was the jersey I was wearing. I had that orange T-shirt underneath it there. I usually wear a T-shirt under my rugby jerseys. Yep, that's absolutely what it was. Yeah, it was a pretty cool day. Unfortunately, we lost. And then even more unfortunately, the buses getting out of there were absolute chaos. Trying to get out of there, it was just nightmare, disaster trying to get back because you can't drive down. There's not really safe. Ah, here it is. That's where it is. I found it. Yeah. So let me. I found the image. Let me just do this real quick. I took a moment there. Copy. Okay. Paste. All right. So I can bring in the full image here. Just take just a moment, and we'll get that up. And anyway. Haven't even got to the news, folks. I actually had some news to talk about today. We just kind of answered your questions and talked about politics in general and my philosophy as president of South Africa. Yeah, so let me bring up the full image, and you can see what the actual cover is. And if anybody's at that game, you'll recognize the cover if you were there. So just got to find. Oh, there's that picture. Hang on. There you go. Okay. So that's the actual photograph. That's what it really looked like, the actual game day cover. So, yeah, the full picture there. So that's pretty cool. Wait. I think it's a racist cover. There's no black guys in that picture. Wait. There's one black guy. Okay, it's not racist. We got it covered. Yeah, and I found the picture I was trying to find for you guys a little bit ago because it's in the wrong place. Actually, on my desktop, so I can bring that one up now. If anybody's still here, the audience is still here. We lost a few folks, but we can still bring it up for the 85 or so still here. Here you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there is me in 1985. This was in my dress blues in the 8th Infantry Division in Bad Kreuznach, Germany. There you go. Check that out. What do you think of that? There you go. Got a little shrubby little mustache going there. Not much going. That is me in 1985. I was a sergeant then. Yep, but I was not infantry. For those who know the military, I'm wearing infantry cord on my shoulder and infantry brass on my lapel collars there, but I am not infantry. We were just required to wear infantry. Also wearing the infantry belt around my waist, which is a blue and gold belt, and that was 1985. Yeah, check it out. That was a long time ago. Alvin de Bruyne says, are you a comic book graphic novel guy? I did like comic books when I was a kid, but my stepfather's a bit of a bully and harassed me for liking comic books and chased me away from them. So I've never really had them since then, but I have nothing against them. I don't really care for the graphic novels. Comic books I did like though. And I've answered the other question. Okay. Did you like Mozambique, says Brett. I've only been in the southern part of Mozambique, Brett, around Maputo in the area there, and then back down into South Africa, going west to Nelspruit and south into KZN. So I haven't seen much of Mozambique, but it was okay. But it was my first time there was really in bad shape because it was only about 7 years removed from the Civil War, and it was still a disaster. I haven't been there recently, so I'm sure I've been back to the country since then, but not recently. So I bet it's really probably a lot better by now. Citizen Guardian said, thank you. I don't know if it was for answering the question or for plugging our thing on Wednesday. Hey, come check it out, folks. If you're into survivalism, or if you have questions about prepping, or if you are a prepper, or if you're just curious, about being prepared, disaster preparedness is an important aspect of life for people who take care of themselves and their families. So this Wednesday, 2 days away, on the 5th of August, my guest will be the Citizen Guardian, who is a survivalist, and we'll be talking about that right here on Chris White Africa. The regular time for special feature, which is noon Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. in South Africa and in Botswana. That's Wednesday. And ladies and gentlemen, in case you didn't hear, I'm sure some of you have heard, but there are people who've come in the stream since the start of the show. Friday this week, tentatively scheduled, South African musical icon and legend, actor, songwriter, and cultural activist Steve Hofmeyer will be on Chris White Africa. That's right. You heard it here. His agent has confirmed that he's agreed to come on the channel, and we've tentatively set Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. in South Africa and Botswana. Steve Hofmeyer right here. This is on the heels of his recent video in Afrikaans, and then the release that came out yesterday in English called Discrimination. So we'll be talking about that video and about his career, and hopefully be talking about some of his better works and his more interesting things and some of the songs he's produced. I'd really like to talk to him about Die Land, a recent song that he did with Robbie Wessels and Bok van Black, Jay, and Bobby van Jasveld, I think. So yeah, we'll be talking about that. So Steve Hofmeyer right here on Chris White Africa. All right, show the pic. Oh, okay. What's a solid ears? What's with you guys? Do you like Star Trek 3, Search for Spock? It was okay. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the one. Of the few. In this case, the one. Yeah. Great stuff. Really enjoyed that. There's back to that. Let me get rid of that one, the Rugby Championship. And which one is it? It's this one here. There we go. So those are gone now. Yeah, folks. I do like Star Trek. And let me catch up here. Oh, Reactionary Opinion says awesome news. Yeah, it is awesome news. Quite a catch interview, Colonel. Excellent, says Dogberg. Yeah, I hope it did great. Hey, Kolasang Litosani, the newest member of Chris White Africa. He got the Orange Man Bad and the Ramaphosa up there. Thank you so much for that. Nigel says, cool, looking forward to Steve's interview. As am I. Wrath of Khan was great, Brett. I love Wrath of Khan. That's a classic. That's one of the best Star Trek things ever done. Southern Metalhead Steve Hofmeyer is a little like Genghis Khan, really good at making kids. Well, I don't know about that. Genghis Khan has 300 million descendants today. I think Steve's got a little bit of work to do to catch up with him. 300 million people alive on this planet today are descended from Genghis Khan. Males alone. I don't know how many women. The real Afrikaans music is Kobus. Okay? When is that? Steve interview. I was busy chewing. Morton, it's Friday, regular time for special features. Noon Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. in South Africa. And Rita likes, hey, Rita, welcome. Welcome. Like that picture. Cool, Rita. I'm glad you like it. Pretty cool stuff. Folks, thanks for tuning in today. I appreciate you tuning in. This is the early version of Stray Voltage. Let me explain something because somebody who's following the channel has commented twice, and I can't find the comment. This is one of the frustrating things about comments on YouTube. Sometimes I can find them, sometimes I can't. I get an email, and then I go to find the comment, and it doesn't take me to it. So somebody commented on the channel. I said, Chris, why don't you put titles on your videos? I'm confused, ladies and gentlemen. I do title my videos. And the person said, well, your channel is confusing. I want to follow, but I can't. Why can't you be like Roman and name your videos? Actually, I am like Roman, so I don't understand what the person is saying. Let me explain. I started out doing by prepared videos, not live streams. All of my videos have a name. They're all titled. They're all subject specific, and you can follow them. Not a problem. It's easy to do. Later, I started live streaming. And when I started live streaming, I started out with a regular Saturday program, and I called it the live stream. And then I just kind of left the title for that. Then, because people were in lockdown, people were clamoring for me to do more streaming, I started doing my own just, hey, I'll pick a topic, or we'll just riff on a topic and talk about the news, and I called it Stray Voltage. Just, random neurons, electrons firing here and there. Stray Voltage. So what that means is any topic is on the table. You can ask about anything. We can talk about any topic, especially when it comes to politics, culture, religion, science. language and those sorts of things. Yeah, so that's what stray voltage is. So unless there's something special going on in stray voltage stream, I'm not going to call it something other than stray voltage. The distinction being is that since I've created 2 streams now with the stray voltage, I have one for people who stay up late in South Africa. It's called the Night Owls Edition. And that's the one that's at 9:35 every day pretty much now. So this is Stray Voltage Now, which has moved a few times at different times. It was just random at any time of the day it could happen. But now I've made it regular so people can count on it. They know when the program is available. So it's every day at noon. And if it's not a Stray Voltage, if I have a special feature guest, then it'll be a special feature and there won't be a Stray Voltage unless I do it earlier. And that's rare because doing streams takes a lot of energy and a lot of time, folks, and research too. And then I'm not just on here promoting, selling things and this, that, and the other. I'm actually talking about analytical things, and that takes a lot of work. So the Night Owls edition comes later. And then the special features are all named after whoever's on there. Sometimes it'll be content, but usually it's special feature live stream with Renee Kruger, special feature live stream with Ronaldo Hollis, special feature live stream with Dax, that sort of thing. So my videos that are done like Roman, and Roman did the same thing. He has the morning shot. Okay, then he created something called the Wind Down, and that was a live stream he's doing Monday through Friday at 5 p.m., which was the time I used to have, and he moved there, so I moved my show to later. And that's his. But he calls it the Wind Down. So the person is saying, why don't you title your videos? I'm a little confused because I'm doing the exact same thing Roman's doing, and I was doing it before Roman, so I don't understand what the issue is. Anyway, so hopefully that clarifies for those who are confused by the naming convention for my streams. Stray Voltage is a random show to talk about anything you want to talk about. And then also has a special feature, just jump in sort of thing. Like yesterday, I understood that the astronauts would be coming back 2 hours later than they actually did land. So I had to jump through the hoops thanks to Anne-Marie Forster, who pointed out that they were supposed to land at 14:48 Eastern Standard Time. And that was about an hour before I intended to go online. So in order to catch that, I set up a stream for 14:15, about 5 minutes before it was time to do that, and posted it and then went on there. And very much, thank you all so much, those who came to the stream. I was really heartened by that. I didn't expect to see more than 5 or 10 people show up because it was such short notice. But we started with 8 people in the stream, which was great. That was awesome. Thank you, guys. And then from 8, it quickly went to 20, to 30, to 40, to 50, to 68. I looked over, well, 68 people. Thank you all so much for coming. And I was commenting and narrating about what was happening. We kept the boring SpaceX Control Center video down on the side there and kept the sound off while nothing was happening. And I just narrated until we got close to the splashdown and then switched over to them and added comments. But we suddenly surged. We were up over 100, 120, 130. We got 175, 179 people watching that stream for something that I announced 5 minutes before it took place. So thank you all so much for that. It's really awesome to see that kind of support. People super chat in there. We got some new members from that. Really, really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for that. So before I close this stream, I do, as I always like to do on these things, I want to make sure I give people credit for their super streams and memberships. So I think Lita Sani became a member this time. Let me get back to that. Did I miss anything here in the chat? Steve published a poetry bundle every now and then. A poem for every kid. To be fair, he never denies any of them, takes care of all of them. Okay, you guys are having a go at him. Brazil's first lady has COVID. Not surprised, her husband had it. Forget Father of the Nation. India's interior minister has COVID. Give a few generations, Steve, 300 million. That's good. That's funny. Okay. You guys, too much trouble there. Cheeky. Anyway, let me get to my YouTube studio here very quickly, and I'm going to come back to this. And then I'm going to mention anyone who's become a member recently, today specifically. But I think Alita Song is the only one today. By the way, it's 6,498 subscribers. If you're listening to this now, when you're one of the 82 people listening in with 110 likes, by the way, if you're not a subscriber, hey, why not do it? Can you see, give us 2 more subscribers on the stream? See if we can get to 6,500 before we close out this show in a few minutes. Let's see, folks. We are at 93 members of Chris White Africa. Ex-Roadies and Dietrich Busha both joined yesterday. Thank you for that. And Marauder 8310 was the day before. I just saw you on Roman's program, Marauder. And then Kolasan Litasade joined today. Thank you so much for that. Folks, 93 members of Chris White Africa. I am very much humbled by that support. I really do appreciate it. And let's see, we've got in this stream, we got a couple of super chats. Did I miss one of them? Oh, no, no, I did miss it. Okay, so we had a super chat from Brett asking about the COVID-19 situation in Namibia, and a super chat from Nicholas Groves about malnutrition. He was joking about the ANC being famished. So thank you guys so much for that. Let me just double check and see if we're still, 99. So somebody here was not a member and they subscribed, I think. Thank you so much for that. And people are starting to drop off. Okay, so we're almost at the 1:30. So I'm going to drop off here, folks, and I want to thank you all for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I'll be back at 8:30 p.m. South Africa time on Joe Emilio's channel. If I've got a moderator here who has that link to Joe's channel with the stream with me on it, if you could put that in very quickly before we disappear. Still got about 80 people watching. They may want to go watch Joe Emilio. He's going to be talking to me about land in South Africa at 8:30, 2:30 Eastern Standard Time here in the U.S., just about an hour from now. So I've got some prep to do for that. And then the other thing is I'll be back on for the Night Owls edition at 9:35 after that stream. So I'll get an hour break now in which I'll be doing research just to make sure my numbers are still straight. And then I'll be back on for an hour. I'll quickly turn it off and turn my stream back on, and I'll go for another hour, hour and a half. So thank you, folks, for tuning in. Really appreciate all the support, and I hope you're having a pleasant day. We will get to the news in the Night Owls edition later this afternoon since I didn't get to it this time. But I thoroughly enjoyed this stream. I hope you guys did as well, and I look forward to seeing you guys a little bit later on the channel. But if you can, go to Joe Emilio's channel and check us out, and that should be interesting here in just a short while. About an hour from now, folks. God bless. Thank you very much.